Hey everybody, it's me, your buddy Dave, the host of the Dark Stuff channel here on YouTube. Thank you so much for checking out my latest video. In this video, wow, so much stuff. We're going to be talking about a brand new record from Kiss, new music from Susanna Hoffs of the Bangles. We're also going to talk about my Record Store Day Spring 2025 purchases. I got a little bit of VCLT. I got a little bit of music news. I have reviews from some very, very different shows, one being the legendary Bob Dylan and the other one being the Spirit of '89 hair metal tour. All that and so much more. Please don't go anywhere. This is the Dark Stuff. Hey everybody, how's it going, folks? Look, this segment is called This Year's Week, and I'm going to have to retitle it or something at some point because it's been a month and a half since I've done one of these particular videos. Now, granted, it was a very slow time, and I think things are going to pick up, but maybe we're going to have to rename this segment and spread them out a little bit. I don't know. Let's start off by talking about something that I'm always going to talk about, and that is new music from Kiss and The Replacements, and both of them are out this week. So the first one up is the newest entry of the Kiss Live Off the Soundboard series. This is a series, I think they've done about 6 of them so far, where Kiss is just taking a raw recording from their archives from various periods in their career and just releasing it out raw. Okay? No overdubs, no fiddling in the studio, no none of that. And I have been loving the series for the most part. I've been a little critical about what they've picked. I really love the Japan one. I thought the Castle Donington from 96 was great. They did a show from 77, which although was cool, that's the same tour that Alive 2 came from, so I didn't think it was quite as necessary. They did one in 2004 in Virginia Beach. Didn't know about that. I didn't care much for that one. From a collector standpoint, they did one from the Animalized tour, one of the 2 shows that Mark St. John actually played on, and they released that. And it's not the greatest performance, but just the fact that he only played 1.5, not even 2 complete shows as a member of the band, and this captures one of them, makes it significant. The new one, though, is from the following tour, the Asylum tour. It's down in San Antonio. Nothing has been documented from this tour officially by the band. It was a great tour. I saw them on that tour. So the new Off the Soundboard is from the Asylum tour, San Antonio, in December of 1985. It is really good. Yeah, I got word that the line is dead over at Record Store Day, so I'm heading over to Homer's right now. I'm going to grab that Replacements and maybe the Belly, and then I'm out. So my Record Store Day experience was a little bit limited, so I had my eye on 2 things, maybe a third, but I wasn't really sure. I knew for sure I was only going to get one, and that was this. This is the new Replacements, Tim. This has both versions on vinyl, the new Ed Stasium mix and then the original mix, and then both are remastered. The Tim box set was phenomenal, one of the best box sets, maybe the best one I've ever purchased. And but not both versions are on vinyl, so I got that. And because it's the Replacements, I'm such a sucker for that shit, you know. But related to this box set, as you know, Bob Mehr, the author who wrote the definitive Replacements book, Trouble Boys, has been writing all of the liner notes, and he's been heavily involved in all these Rhino reissues, doing a fantastic job. However, he made a post on social media that implied that he was sort of done with the project, and maybe they were going to be working with other people. He didn't know if he was going to be there, because he said, in the post, he said, personally, this release is a little bittersweet as it brings an end, for me anyways, for the moment, to a decade working on the Replacements catalog. I've never been involved with anything as challenging, rewarding, frustrating, or ultimately as important as this series, with a Billboard chart-topping album, a Grammy Award, and a vice presidential candidate endorsement among the strange and unexpected highlights of this adventure. So he goes on a little bit longer, and then he says, biggest thanks to the band, Paul, Tommy, Chris Mars, the late great Bob Stinson, and Slim Dunlap, and especially Darren Hill, without whose faith and trust in me, none of this shit would exist. He says, if you bought and supported any of this stuff, thanks from the bottom of my heart, and do get out to your favorite Record Store Day retailer and get a copy of the Tim Twofer on Saturday. Well, that's what I did. So my hope is that maybe Bob's just not done, that there's, I'm not going to say it's like a negotiating tactic or something, but more like they're just not sure what's happening, and so maybe they're going to bring him in for something else. I kind of hope so, because frankly, his involvement means a lot, and it's very significant, in my opinion. He brings a lot to it, and I would really hate to see him removed from the project or just not wanting to be involved. I don't know what the deal is. Sorry, I'm not trying to editorialize here. as the rest of Record Store Day goes, I went to Homer's and I bought that Replacements, but then they were sold out of the Belly, which is just King, their second album, 30th anniversary on vinyl. I already have the CD original, and I do have a special promotional item and stuff. I wanted it, but I went to another store and they didn't have it either, and so I'm not sure that what's going to happen with that. I do want to get the Vicky Peterson and John Cowsill record, which had a Record Store Day component, and I kind of spaced it at that moment. I'm going to try and go back and get it. It's also just going to be a general new release at some point, so I'm okay with just getting that on CD if I don't get the Record Store Day version. Vicky's bandmate in their band, the Bangles, and maybe former bandmate, I don't know at this point. I don't know. Susanna Hoffs also released a new single. Now, this is interesting because it ties into something that I've been talking about on my other channel. So recently, we did, I have another channel called Rock and Roll Book Club, and we review books by and about musicians, the music business, etc. In our most recent episode, we talked about Eternal Flame, the new book about the Bangles, and I basically said, like, I'm not sure they're going to ever come back after this. Like, they were very, very critical of one another, and it came off, like, really harsh. And you know, now Debbie's out there with the -5. Vicky's got a new record with John Cowsill, and so Susanna Hoffs has some festival dates. And now she has this brand new single where she re-recorded the Bangles track, okay, their biggest selling song, Eternal Flame, and she's released it as a solo artist. And the band features her, Petra Hayden, formerly of That Dog, Benny Block, Maxwell Flanders, Ryan Lerman on guitars, Justin Meldal Johnson, and then it was mixed by Susanna Hoffs and some other people. So bottom line is, she's putting out this solo record. She's going on her own, and my theory is they are not coming back. I don't know this. Now, on the channel, we have set up an interview with the author of Eternal Flame. Her name is Jennifer Otter Bickerdike, and we have an interview request in. She said yes. We're just trying to coordinate it. You know, there's 3 of us on the show, and then there's her, and she's in London, so the timing has been a little bit complicated to coordinate, but that will be coming up pretty soon. And I intend to ask the question, what the heck is going on with the Bangles? Are they together or not? And I'm hoping she might know something. I don't know. Before we move on, I would be remiss if I didn't thank Will over at the Vinyl Potato for giving me this bit of VCLT with the Thurston Moore Sonic Life book. He sent it to me, and not only is it a copy of the book, it's an autographed copy of the book. Thank you so much, dude. He kind of told me he was going to do it, and then I forgot, and then it showed up, and it was an amazing surprise because I had completely spaced it. So there you go, the new Thurston Moore book. I'd like to do that at one point for Rock and Roll Book Club. We'll see if my co-hosts are interested or not. Well, no, I don't know. If you guys remember back to October of 2023, I did a video where I reviewed the Amyl and the Sniffers show, and the opening band was Die Spitz. And in the review, I gushed over Die Spitz and how great they were, and how I basically put Amyl and the Sniffers in the rearview mirror after that. And I've been a diehard Die Spitz fan. I bought the record off the bass player that night, and I've been following their every move. Haven't been able to see them since then because they haven't played in Omaha, and they don't have any touring plans coming here yet. Kansas City is about the closest, but I don't know if I'm ready to road trip for it or not. But either way, the big news is they just got signed to Third Man, which is Jack White's label, also home of David Nance and Mode Sound, by the way. But I think that is a massive coup for that band and for that label. I think it was really, really smart. I've been telling anyone who will listen, pay attention to Die Spitz. This band has a massive future, and only some people are listening. But the guys at Third Man definitely are. So I knocked one off the bucket list, folks. I saw Bob Dylan in concert on April 1st, April Fool's Day, exactly, at the Orpheum Theater. I had a really good ticket. I was in like the 9th row, or row J. I don't know how many, if you go A, B, C, D, whatever. Anyways, I was in row J. And I don't have any pictures or photos to show you of the concert because of the fact that it was a no phones show. It was one of these deals where you have to put your phone in the pouch, seal it, and you can't unlock it. The venue has to unlock it. I know that wasn't the venue's deal. It was the artist's deal. And I'm just going to say right here, and this is a controversial take, and I get it, especially because more people my age disagree with me than agree with me. I think no phone shows are stupid. Okay? Now, I know everybody has a story about some asshole with their phone up the whole time, blocking your view or something, or, whatever it is. A lot of obnoxious stories. And I always say those are worst case scenarios. Those are not the norm to have some obnoxious jerk standing in front of you the entire time and just refusing to, whatever. Come up with your worst case scenarios. I just think that if an artist absolutely, for whatever reason, does not want anyone to take pictures or to do any video whatsoever, none. You put up signs everywhere saying you cannot photograph, you cannot video, and if you are caught doing it, we are going to remove you from the venue. And guess what? The first time, if the first person gets caught and gets kicked out, nobody else will do it. They'll all put their phones away. They're not going to risk it. But then you're not treating the audience like a child. Like, what if you're a doctor? What if you have an emergency? What if, like, my parents are very ill, and they rely on me for almost everything. I have to be no phone for 3 hours because Bob Dylan can't stand to get his picture taken. I don't know. I think it's a dumb rule. I mean, I get it. Don't sit there the whole time. Like, why you? But when someone says, "Oh, we don't need," and back in my day, we didn't need phones. We just lived in the moment. Lived in the moment. Bullshit. You were probably stoned, or you were doing something else, or you were doing something else that distracted you from the concert to some degree. It's all part of experiencing it. But, like, ultimately, when you look back at that show that you loved at 1989, when you were living in the moment, wouldn't it be great to have a photograph or two of that thing to, like, refresh the memory and to really make it vivid? You don't have to be a YouTube channel to see the value in this. I like taking videos and stuff, but I take 30-second clips, 45 at the most. You've seen what I do. I integrate it into an otherwise longer video. So moving on from this topic, okay, because I do think it's childish and they should just let people do what they want. If you don't want a phone show, just tell people, but be prepared that there's going to be a consequence of people getting mad at you if they get kicked out. But that's the rules. Other than making every single person put their phone in a fucking pouch and then have to carry around this gigantic pouch like that's this big, and then you have to carry around that, and then you have to wait in line at the end of the show to get it unlocked and out of the case. Stupid. Okay. As far as the Bob Dylan show goes, it was decent. Okay. I mean, he played, it's the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour, so that's his newest album. And I would say most of the set was from that record. He only did a handful of other songs. I think he did Desolation Row, and he did Shelter from the Storm, and he did, a couple others. I don't know, a couple of classics, not that many. And he basically sat behind the piano the entire time and just sang the songs. He didn't address the crowd. He didn't do anything. At the end, he went around and introduced the band. That was it. Anton Fig, who's played as a ghost player on 2 Kiss records and played with Ace Frehley for many, many years, was his drummer, and that's a new thing on this leg of the tour, which is cool. So I did get to see Anton, and I was pretty happy about that. But as far as the Dylan show itself, like, it was a good performance. It sounded good. I mean, the Orpheum is a beautiful old theater that always sounds really good, or almost always. Perhaps it's my mistake for not knowing much about the Rough and Rowdy Ways record. Okay, let me learn how to say that. But the opposite of that is Bob Dylan has a 60-plus year career. Should I expect that 80% of the show is going to be on this one album at the expense of everything else? I mean, I guess if it's Bob Dylan, maybe I should expect that. I don't know. But I didn't, and so it was a mixed bag. I'm glad I saw it. Okay, I can say I've seen Bob Dylan. That's about it. Now, I'm not going to do much of a review on this next show because Eric and I are going to do a full video over on Rock of Aging talking about this show and another one that we just saw. So I hit the Spirit of 1989 tour, and this is a tour featuring Trixter, Enuff Z'Nuff, Pretty Boy Floyd, and in our market, a guy named Christian Shields, who's a solo artist, I think from Texas. Pretty Boy Floyd came on. I had no history with this band or anything like that. But they actually sounded pretty good. I don't know how many original members still in the band other than the singer Steve Summers. Again, they were off to a good start, but then the show took a turn, and it made me ultimately sour on Pretty Boy Floyd, even though I was starting to kind of perk up a little bit. And that is because the singer started talking about how grunge killed his career and yada, 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 yada. Okay, the same whiny bullshit that these guys all think. But then he started mocking Kurt Cobain and Chris Cornell for unaliving themselves. That's how you say it on YouTube these days, for taking their own life. And I don't care what your feelings are on Soundgarden or Nirvana or grunge or alternative music or whatever. You just don't mock people that do that are, take their lives. I just think that it is really, really low class, and it is about the shittiest thing you could possibly do. Super mean-spirited. And, I would just say that Kurt Cobain has more talent in one of his butt cheeks than you and your entire band, every single one of you, all put together. So fuck all of you. Next up was Enuff Z'Nuff. That was the band I mainly wanted to see. I like those guys, real Cheap Trick vibe. I love their earlier stuff in the 80s. So Pretty Boy Floyd sounded better from an audio perspective. Enuff Z'Nuff was really loud and distorted and whatever, and so it was a little bit harder to follow, but I really liked it. They did a couple of Paul McCartney and Wings songs. They did Jet. They did Live and Let Die. Ultimately, I thought it was great. I bailed before Trixter started, and Erica took the pictures and video for that. So I'm not going to talk about that, but we will talk about it in our next Rock of Aging video, which comes out May 10th. So you may be noticing, if you look at the music in the April 2025 Dark Stuff playlist, that's a bit on the melancholy tip. I have been, not feeling the best lately. The last couple of months, I just feel really just down and whatever, and that is definitely reflected in the songs that I chose on this particular playlist. We starts off heavy with Rollins Band and Do It, but then it goes into Japanese Breakfast. You got the Muffs, Giant Drag, Pavement, MC Search, Queens of the Stone Age, TV on the Radio, American Music Club, and Purple Mountains. That's a double dose of depression right there. You got Nick Lowe, you got Mark Eitzel, Trail of Dead, Bright Eyes, Duran Duran, Lee Ronaldo, Paul Westerberg, Firehose, Poster Children, the Detroit Cobras, Ween, Bob Dylan, Queen, Red Cross, so much more. It is a great one. Don't be thrown by me saying it's melancholy. I mean, it might be, but that's just the case. Okay, so folks, I'm going to leave you right here. I do say if you haven't checked out the newest Rock of Aging, please do that. Go over and subscribe to Rock and Roll Book Club. Our next book, now that the Bangles one is done, is we are going to be doing Hammer of the Gods by Led Zeppelin. Lots of activity. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. This has been The Dark Stuff. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.
So, you have a MySpace page or something?